course, that uh, that did not last for a long time, because after that I had to study and spend more time, and I was not a very good student, to be honest. I absolutely did not like maths. uh, Chemistry, physics, and all of these things somehow just didn't make sense to me, because as they say, right, you are, some students are outstanding. I was one of those outstanding students in chemistry, where ma'am used to tell me to stand outside all the time. And somehow it never, I just could not understand anything. It was like listening to Greek and Latin. So after 10th, I got the 10th marks card, and I saw that, I had just passed in maths, and somehow managed to scrape through in science. I was very good in English and Hindi and all that, but somehow history also was okay. But maths and science was something I absolutely just could not stand. So as soon as I got the marks card, I went home, and I gave the marks card to my mother, and I said, look, this is the last time I'm ever going to study maths and physics in my life. I don't want to do anything with maths and physics, so please get me something else. So that something else turned out to be commerce, and I think even my parents understood that, and my mother said that there is no point getting into something and then not able to clear those exams. You'll feel very bad. At least do something whatever you like. So then I did commerce, and unfortunately, I realized that even I didn't like commerce also that much. And somehow again in 12th grade, I just managed to scrape through like third division, and just about managed to clear without having any backlog. So then I realized that, okay, BCom may not be for me, because commerce was not something that I really enjoyed as such. Though I did take tuitions, but I just didn't enjoy that. Then I was beginning to think that maybe I'm just a really bad student or something like that, and nothing makes sense to me. And maybe I'm just not meant to study as such. There are some like that, right? I thought I was one of them. I didn't know, of course, what I really wanted. And then one of our conversations with a friend, actually with my brother's friend, and he said that there is a hotel management course. Why don't you go ahead and try that? And I thought, okay, I mean, if I rule out maths and physics and commerce, pretty much that doesn't leave too many options. So I went and joined hotel management. And the first day in hotel management in the course, I realized that, this is something I really like. I mean, I could understand everything that the teachers are saying. And from, getting third division in 12th, the first year I got the second, I was like the second in my college, and I kind of was top 10 in the Osmania University at that year in the first year. So that was a pretty shocking discovery for me, because I was not used to coming first from the top. I was always first from the other side, right? So I was quite shocked that I could also do something in terms of academics and excel at something. And I thought that what was the difference? The difference was just that I put my mind to it, maybe. Uh, and from there, I think the hotel management had a big influence on me, on my character, on my overall personality. I was pretty reserved, and I used to go out, talk to people, and I was a lot more, I think, more than understanding how to cook and all of that, I think it helped my personality a lot those 3 years. But after I finished hotel management, something happened. I was doing in my career, in my 3 years, I was actually studying to be a bartender, if you know, like in food and hotel industry, there is a service section of it, right? So I wanted to start my career there. But then I went and joined a hotel to do training, and I realized that, okay, this is really, really difficult. And somehow I was about 19 years old when I was undergoing training, 20 when I finished my graduation. And as soon as I finished my graduation, I somehow got another career change, you could call it. I had a friend who was working for GE, and she said, "Why don't you go and try it? You know, we get a pickup and drop, and it's just 8 hours of work. And unlike a hotel, you had to do like 20 hours of work there." So I thought, okay, this seems to be a good idea, and I just joined that company. So if you actually look at what I've been doing till the time I was 21, I was pretty much just going with whichever way seemed easier for me, and I was just taking the path of least resistance, and I did not want to challenge myself that much. So that was pretty much how I was taking decisions. All my life decisions were based on which is the easier way to, just go that way, so that I always felt something that I was lacking, that I could not do something, right? And then that uh, whole experience of changing my personality happened in college, but I still didn't leave my old habit. So I opted out of hotels. Um, and of course, when I joined this new place, that's when I realized that, I could be good at other things as well. And I was pretty happy with what I was doing in the new job. I quickly became a trainer, and I was training other people. So life came like a big circle. It was a full circle for me. Already by the time I was 22, 23, I got hired by a company to, you know, basically they took me abroad to learn, the things that they are doing, to then come back and train people here. So and all of that was not something that maybe anybody in my school or college would have expected me to do at that point of time. I was not showing any signs of any kind of excellence in any way, except for the brief period in college where I was really good, and I was really happy with what I was doing. But pretty much all of the other marks card don't suggest that. But then I really excelled with that in that area. And so if I have to say one thing, and then of course, after that I did a brief while I owned a hotel of my own, a restaurant of my own here in Bangalore. So there have been various things I have been doing, and then about 8 to 10 years into my work career, I was managing about 200, 300 people, and that also uh, seemed pretty exciting. But then I realized that somehow I wanted to uh, also focus on other things, in my life, and that's when I wanted to get some free time. That's how we sold the restaurant, and then I came out of managing people to just being, managing my own projects, and I was just doing things on my own in this new company, in the same job, in the same company, but a new role basically. And I just wanted to, I realized somehow that I used to like astronomy. I wanted to get back to that a little bit. So I made a conscious decision to switch and try to free up some of my time to focus on other pursuits. So, like a philosophy of mine, because of this whole astronomy, has been that life is like too precious, and we should try and do more and more things. Sometimes you should spend some time in your own pursuits rather than just the tangible things like money and all those things. They will come, but I somehow feel that we should spend some more time in other things that we like. So that's how I kind of, I would say, not took a step back, but I tried to spend maybe 10-20% of my life in learning other things. And that's how I bought my first telescope. And then I was figuring out how to use it. It was very difficult. And when I was trying to read the books on astronomy, that's all flying over my head, because astronomy is a pretty intimidating topic, at least for me, being a non-science student. That's when it struck me that there must be other people like me who, for whom astronomy, they like stars, but they don't know how to get started. And that's how I got into teaching astronomy to people. uh, I did, I'll just stop here. I don't know if you want to ask anything. I'd be more than happy to explain a little more, But in general, the theme has been, at least till I was 25 years old. A lot of things I did was not something that I would have thought of doing even 2 years ago. Things just happened. But at that time, till the point I was 25 or close to 30, I did not control most of the things. That I did not make a conscious decision. But that changed later. That is the second part. But in the first part, I was just going with the flow, you could say. So any questions, anything that you would like to know, please ask me. Otherwise, I can continue. All right. So after, yeah.
Anyone has any questions or?
All right.
Yeah.
So anyway, at some point, I realized that I like astronomy, but I like teaching more. Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay. I was anyways about to
Leela want to say something.
Please. Yeah. Go ahead.
Anish, yeah. Given a chance, if you want to, if you have a power to rewind your childhood, what would you like to change?
I have always thought about it like that. I thought, what if I was more interested in physics and chemistry back then? Maybe I could have been something else. Maybe I would have been a physicist, or I would have been something else. But the more I think about it, I realize that if life would have been any other way, I would not have been doing what I'm doing now. And I really like what I'm doing now. So I don't know if, I had chosen to be a physicist, I would have really loved it. I don't know that. But what I do know is I absolutely love what I'm doing now, both in my professional life and this astronomy thing that I'm doing, the teaching of astronomy. So somehow I don't think I'll change anything. I will still be like that, pretty bad in studies, and then somehow find something that I like doing just by chance. So I think that was the exciting you know discovery that I had, particularly in degree, that I could really excel at something. But I really wouldn't change anything. I think that all of those things that have happened to bring me to this position today. So I'm very happy about those.
I have a question.
Yes.
So my question to you is, do you know about space?
Yeah, I know a few things about space.
Yeah. Anish, you're already a physicist because I had attended your session and you were talking about how hydrogen, helium, and other elements in the field were formed.
Yeah.
Yogi, here I have a question. So,
Yeah, Yogi.
Space. You ask specific question to space. Shilika had a question.
What are the, like, when we're starting to stargazing, when you're starting stargazing, what are the basic things you would suggest?
Sure. Actually, I will tell you how my own journey was. Before I bought my first telescope, I have never looked through a telescope. I have never touched a telescope in my life. This is 2007. And back then, telescopes were very rare. And I have only read about telescope in a book or on internet. That's all. So the first time I bought a telescope, I just want to tell you how bad I was with this. First time I bought a telescope, I had taken a friend help in Bombay to go and bring a telescope. So later, when we were back after bringing the telescope, so she had told me, why don't you show me something now that you have a telescope? Why don't you show me something in the sky? So I assembled the telescope and I showed her Jupiter. And Jupiter had a big hole in it, and it looked like a donut. So I said, look, this is Jupiter. And she said, this doesn't look like Jupiter. I said, yeah, but that's how it looks in a telescope. And I came back home and I realized that that was not Jupiter. That was Jupiter, but I didn't know how to focus the telescope. So it was totally out of focus. It looked like a donut, a big round circle. So that is my journey. That is my starting point, I have to tell you. And from then, I have shown maybe hundreds of thousands of people different objects. So for me, I think there was no proper method how to start. But definitely right now there is a lot of technology that you can use, and the very good tool to begin astronomy is a app called Stellarium. So if you want to start and you don't have a telescope, I always recommend just download. It's a free app called Stellarium. It's very easy to use, and that would really it is limitless. You can continue to use it for the rest of your life. You'll never grow out of it. Hope
I've
that
used
answers.
Selenium few times.
Yeah, isn't it exciting to use?
Could you repeat which app you said?
An app called Stellarium. I'll type it here so that everyone can.
I have used Selenium once or twice.
I have put it on the chat. It is called Stellarium. It's free to download for Linux and Windows, and it's really amazing. That's a good starting point.
What does astronomy mean to you?
That's a very good question, actually, because astronomy is like it's a container term. If you know what container term, it can mean anything, right? It can mean astrobiology, astrochemistry, cosmology. There's so many things. For me, it means astronomy means just about observing and just understanding whatever logically you can understand from that. I am not more I am not that much into black holes and supernova and multiverse and all those things. I am more focused on just looking at the stars and looking at something which I can see and I can use my own senses to understand, right? That's all. For me, astronomy is only that much. But there is a lot more to astronomy than that.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do you want to always explore on Earth, or in the future do you want, literally go to space by a rocket or anything?
Yeah, I would love to do that. Unfortunately, they will not. You need a lot of training to do that. But if in my lifetime, if I'm able to become a tourist on a spaceship and go somewhere, I would really love to take that opportunity. I'd love to see how Earth looks from the moon. I would because I've seen the moon from Earth and I've seen Jupiter from Earth. I've seen Neptune from Earth. But it would be really awesome to see Earth from there as well.
If you're going, please invite me also. I'll also come.
Yes, I will be sure to book one more seat for you.
Actually, it's only one warning. You must practice for your rest of your lifetime.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
You must mostly practice a lot.
Yeah, I know. I should practice a lot, but hopefully it will be like going on a train someday in future, right?
Yeah.
You can just maybe it becomes like that. Let's hope. Fingers crossed. Let's hope that happens.
Yeah.
Advai, you have a question?
I already told.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so our saints have also explored the space in their own way. So do you bring any spiritual context here, or you go with the pure science?
Yeah, it's a difficult question where that spirituality ends, where science starts, and where philosophy begins. All of this, it's a bit difficult. But yeah, for me personally, it has been more about the big picture rather, I don't know what to call it, but it has been about the big picture in the sense that yeah, a lot of people talk about DNA and the origin, but in our sessions we talk about the origin in not in terms of DNA or life or mammals and all that, right? We talk about how all of us were born inside a supernova, a star which exploded, and that star gave all the stuff that is required to build us, and even me and a pet or a person from Russia all have the same common origin. So that is my extent of what I think about. I don't know what to categorize it under, but I think about those kind of things if it made sense.
Okay, one question from me again. So what do you think about the Big Bang?
What do I think? I have read about it, and I believe that's a pretty awesome explanation for our universe, right? I mean, maybe there are other explanations, but this one is pretty awesome, and all of the proof that we have and the evidence that we have points to something like that. So it's pretty awesome that we could come up with some thought like that. And like I said, I don't know about any other alternate explanations. That is happens to be my favorite one explanation as well.
Okay, so do you think spirituality and the Big Bang connected somehow?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, it depends. I have understood that a lot of people define spirituality in different ways. So, but yeah, I mean, you could connect it in that way. That because the beginning there was absolutely nothing, and then there is whatever we have today. So that could be a pretty spiritual experience once you understand that again, but I don't know what spirituality means to each one. So I'm not really qualified to answer that in that way. But it could be, I can definitely, I have had people tell me that once they have attended the session and they have gone, they just before they were about to leave, they have told me that they have had a very spiritual kind of an experience after attending the session. Um, but yeah, I think I can totally understand that that could be an effect that it could have on. So I've heard about light years in astronomy. How did that understanding of numbers happen? Yeah, I'm just reading the question there. Light years is something that, to be honest, I don't think anybody really intuitively understands light year. I know everyone knows the definition of it. But how far is one light year? I don't think anyone intuitively understands. Like in my sense, I don't know how. Like if you tell me, Aarohi is 70 kilometers from Bangalore, I know, okay, it will take me 2 hours to reach there, right? Like mentally, I know how far that is. And if something is 700 kilometers away, even then I can still understand. Okay, it will take me about 10 hours to reach there. But if something is 70,000 kilometers away, like it's very difficult. And if you talk about light year, I know the number, I know what that means, but I don't think I've ever really understood how far that is. And, that's pretty difficult, I think, for for a human being to understand even what one light year is in terms of distance, to intuitively understand that. So I don't claim to say I have an understanding of those numbers. I can suggest a telescope, surely. I can put it in, I can send a message separately on that. Yeah. And how do I normally use Stellarium? See, Stellarium, when you start off, right, it's just a planetarium software, right? So you could say that I'm going to see today evening at 6 o'clock, once the sun sets, I want to see where the moon will be. Okay, you can check in Stellarium. Exactly, it will tell you where it will be. You can say that, okay, I have seen a planet, I've seen a bright star in the east today at 7 o'clock. And it's next day. Tomorrow you come back home and you want to know what was that you saw in the bright star at 7 o'clock in the east. So you can go to Stellarium and change the date to yesterday and change the time to 7 p.m. yesterday, and you can know what you saw there. You will know the name of that star. Right, so Stellarium is pretty powerful. Not only that, I mean, on your birth date, for example, you can put your birth date in Stellarium. It will tell you how the sky looked on the day you were born. So you can actually go back, I think, 10,000 years uh, before today, 10,000 BC, I think so. And you can go ahead, I think, also to 10,000 more years from today. So, and plus, Stellarium is very powerful. It can also connect my telescope. I can connect my telescope to Stellarium and it will automatically point my telescope here and there. So there is a lot of things that I could do with that. Career change, I think it helped me because I have got more, I know what are my strengths, and instead of um, waiting to become better than the other person, I have discovered that I need to create my own niche, and my own kind of speciality, where I feel the company values me for what I'm doing. And I found that I need to find a balance, like between what I like doing and what the company will value. So that's where some 8 to 10 years ago, I decided to shift to project management. And that career change helped me a lot because one, the company values what I'm doing a lot more, as well as, I get some time on my own to do other things what I want to do in a day. Yeah, somehow 24 hours is not enough for everyone, right? So it is the case with me also. But my career changes helped me to plan, a little more manageable timings and little more manageable workload and all that. Demo, sure. I mean, if I could show you a demo if that is okay with the moderators. How did I get introduced to astronomy? Okay, so like I said, astronomy when I was 5 or 6 years old, I don't remember, but we used to have power cuts at around 7 p.m. in Hyderabad, 7:30, 30 minutes of power cut. So at that time, we used to just lie down on the, outside our house, put a mat and just look up. And every time we look up, we see some stars moving. And I was pretty fascinated. I used to think, what could that be? Like, why is it moving so steadily? And every night you see them moving from some other place, and there are tens and tens, like literally a dozen every 30 minutes. In you'll see at least 10 to 15 of them. So that caught my attention. And right now what satisfaction I get is, I number one, I love showing people, and I love the expressions that people have when they see Saturn's rings and when they see Jupiter's moons, and they're like, oh my god, this is something I just did not believe I could see this. Or if I show them craters of the moon and I say, look at that crater, there is a mountain inside that crater, and you see the edges of the mountain, right? You can see the shadow, and you can see the crater wall, you can see the contours of the crater wall. So that blows their mind. So I love to see that reaction from people. And I love to see uh, meteors and things like that through the naked eye. I'm very fascinated by them even today. Though I've seen thousands of them in my life, every time I see a new one, I'm still like, whoa, wow, that was great. I'm never like bored of seeing them. A book I would suggest for observational astronomy is a book called Stars. I'll put it here. Stars by H.A. Ray. It's a classic book. It has been around for decades now. Many people use it. That's a lovely book to get started. Can you relate why the days of the week are named after sun, moon? Yeah, that's a very good question. It's basically everything. Our whole calendar is based on the sky, right? Like 365 days in a year, or a month is named a month because it's the time that number of days moon takes to go around. So from the word moon comes the word month. So it's not surprising that we would then name the days like that. Like we call Saturday as after Saturn, but also in India we call it Shanivar. So pretty much all the cultures somehow, I would say that they did not have a choice, because once you start putting a calendar based on the sky, then obviously you have to use the same theme, and you have to use similar terminology, right? So that's why I feel maybe that's why that pretty much all the cultures have named their days of the week after planets. All right.
Yeah, there are some questions in the chat. I'll just read it out one by one. So
Yeah, I
any
have gone
books?
through. I have
Okay,
gone
then you
through
can
all of them.
answer.
Yeah, I have gone through all of them. I think, yeah, any books or resource to understand calendars. There is not a single book, but if you are interested in the Indic calendars and Indic resources, then there are very good books by S. Balachandra Rao. You can try and look up for them. They're in Kannada and as well as English. But specifically on calendars, I don't know. I have actually really not used one book. There are many. Like there is one book that I'm reading right now called the Astronomical Code in the Rig Veda. Some of you would have heard of it. But there is not one book that comes to my mind. But I'll surely let you guys know once I do some more research on calendars, and I'll bring something to you. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you
had
missed
a
one
question. This is
question,
Rachna.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Rachna.
Yeah.
Please go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So I am very much interested in astronomy, or to at least understand, not like a study, just to
Yeah.
see the sky and see how the things change. But what holds me back all the time is these very, like light years, what you suggested. Even I never understood. And these terms, really kind of fear me or make me get scared to go away from that. So where do you suggest for people like me to start with, the simple step which makes us feel like we can also understand?
Yeah, I will answer your question, but let me digress a little bit. When I
Okay.
started astronomy, I had met some people who were amazing. I mean, they could show you 1,000 stars and they could name hundreds of them. Like they could tell them this is what this name is, this is what this. It's pretty intimidating, right? And I used to think that, and all I wanted to do from the first time I bought a telescope was to show people something, right? That's all I wanted to do. But I used to get intimidated thinking, oh, that person knows so much and I don't know so much. So who am I to start teaching this to people? And I realized that, nobody knows 100% of everything. So that kind of gave me a bit of what do you call confidence. And the second thing I realized is astronomy doesn't mean the same thing for everybody. So you can start. So for example, you can just be looking at Jupiter. You could just be looking at the moon, and that could be astronomy for you. I mean, it doesn't have to be like what somebody else is doing, or what you don't have to know 100 stars names and only then you are an astronomer. Nothing like that. As long as you have some interest in the sky, that is the starting point. That's all. And where do you start? Well, after you see the moon, after you recognize some stars, you try to figure out what the name is of that star, and don't be pressurized that I have to learn everything today. For me, I have taken 16 years to be where I am, and I hardly know maybe 1% of everything there. I don't even think I know 1% of there is everything there is to know. So I highly recommend take your time, whatever time. If it is 10 minutes a month, then let it be 10 minutes a month. And don't feel shy of calling yourself an astronomer. As long as you're looking up at the sky, then you are an astronomer. And you can, even from Bangalore, I can see that there is an associated question. Even from Bangalore, with all the light pollution, you can still recognize at least 30 constellations. And let me tell you that I have not met more than 100 people who can recognize 30 constellations even. Like I have met thousands of people. I have met thousands of people last year. I know over the 2007 till now, maybe 100,000 people have seen, I have met, and I have shown the sky to them. 30 constellations, very difficult for people to recognize. So in Bangalore, you can start there, right? You can at least recognize 10 of them. And that is itself a big feat, for many people, and some star names to add. So there is a lot of stuff you can do in Bangalore also. But of course, if you want to see the other 88, you have to go somewhere else. Yeah.
Yeah, that is one
I hope that
question.
answers your question.
Yes, thanks a lot.
Yeah. Sorry. I think you missed one question, or I don't know whether you have answered and I missed you to network problem. Can you suggest a telescope that would be ideal for a beginner or for a non-professional person like us?
Sure. I think the first thing, yeah, the telescopes are pretty expensive. So one thing that I would suggest not to buy is if the telescope has on the box magnification number mentioned on it, like if it says 100x, 500x, usually that's a toy telescope, usually. So don't buy it. So I can tell you clearly that you will be wasting money buying that. And very good telescope would cost you around 30 to 40,000 rupees, and you need to buy something which is like at least a 6 inch. 6 inch is the size of the mirror, so a 6 inch mirror based telescope is a minimum that I recommend. Of course, if you don't want to spend that much, then you could buy even a 3 inch telescope, and that would cost you, I think, around 10,000 rupees. And that would show you like the moon craters, it would show you Jupiter's moons, Saturn's rings, Orion Nebula, would show you a lot of star clusters, at least 100, 150 objects you can see, but not from Bangalore. You can see maybe 10 objects from Bangalore with that telescope. And if you go outside Bangalore, with that telescope, you could see another 100 objects, I think so, roughly speaking. But particularly which vendor, which telescope, I will send it offline to Sakila. I'll message her separately if you'd still like to know. Well, we're not selling telescopes, so I don't want to take any vendor name as such, but I will definitely put a message across which can be circulated to your group. Yeah. What are the milestones? Yeah, I think this is a pretty good milestone also. Thank you for inviting me to share what I have been doing over the last few years. So this is also, I would suggest, I would think that it's a very important milestone. There are a lot of other things that I want to do, but yeah, I have over the years, like 6 to 7 years, we have taken thousands of people camping, and I have been invited to such forums, small forums as well, bigger forums, but I somehow like that each one of them, I think every day I come across something, or every week or every month, that that is, I feel there's a major milestone in my career in terms of astronomy. And it is not money, really. It's not about, I have never, I don't know what I have, whether I have earned or made a loss or something. I have never really measured it in that way. Yes, binoculars, eyes, use, I think the best thing is eyes. Like I said, right? Even to start with, if you want to use binoculars or even eyes, that's a question. But even with your naked eyes, there is so much you can see. In fact, I have got about 12 or 13 telescopes. But the best things that I like to see are with my naked eye, which is, I have seen there some meteors which are etched in my brain. Like I've seen it 10 years ago, but even now I exactly remember how it was, how that day was, what time of the day it was, And I've seen other things with the telescope, but somehow eyes, is very good to. You don't need any equipment, but if you're starting, binoculars also is a very good idea. Only problem with binoculars is you cannot show other people what you're seeing. So that's one problem. Like if you are seeing something and you want to show a person next to you, it's pretty difficult to do that unless they can find it on their own also. So which is where a stand would be required. And once you buy a stand for a binocular, it is pretty expensive. And you may as well buy a telescope. All right. Source that gives information about sky events like meteor showers. There are many. I think there is time and date. There is a very simple website that has a that has information, and all the other events are there in another website called Heavens Above, and I will type that here. Heavens Above is a very good resource as well. I wonder how our ancestors have done documentation without any gadgets like telescopes on those days. Yeah, even I keep wondering. I have read so many books about that topic, and it's always a pretty fascinating how people have done astronomy in the past without telescopes. But in a simple, to answer your question, more in a dry manner, I could say that you could do a lot of astronomy by just looking at shadows of the sun, how it casts a shadow on sticks. That could give you a lot of information. You could also do a lot by just sticks and threads, to measure the angle of a star and all of those things. So I think that they were pretty genius people back then, like we have right now as well. And it was always a source of wonder for me when I visit Jantar Mantar and such places. If you had a chance to choose what you wanted to do in your childhood, what all would you like to explore? Yeah, like someone asked me earlier, about going to space. I think I would love to do that, if I could do that. But I know that I would have had to study physics for that, which pretty much rules out the possibility for me. At least back then, I wasn't that interested. But I would love to do that. But everything else, I think that I'm already exploring. I'm out in the nature pretty much every weekend. I'm camping, I'm going out, I'm spending a lot of time traveling, and those are all things that I really love to do. Any idea or thoughts as to why there are so many eclipses when compared to number of eclipses happening 40 to 50 years back? uh, I have not seen anything like that, Rachana. I think more or less it is the same kind of number of eclipses, but at least I am not aware of any increase, because most of the eclipses and uh, s- the solar and lunar eclipses happen because of the ascending and descending node, which you call Rahu and Ketu, right? And because of that, we know pretty much how they are cyclical, so things happen in a cycle. And I have not heard of that, but I think that they are pretty evenly distributed. In a given century, there will be X number of eclipses, is what I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let me just quickly check if there is any. Jasmita, astronomy versus astrology. That's a pretty divisive question. Or rather, the answer to that could be pretty polarizing. So, I'm not astrology enthusiast, so I cannot answer that question. I think astronomy for me, I have spent more time on astronomy, though I have read astrology when I was younger. But it's not really a versus thing for me. I'm more personally, I am more an astronomy person. Yeah. All right. I really love all those questions and the enthusiasm you guys seem to have for astronomy. I'm very happy to share so far. And of course, if you have more questions, please let me know. I think we have a bit of time as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now everybody can share one thing, like one new term or one thing you learned in this Jaatre today. Meanwhile, Anish, there's a question for you in the chat.
In the chat.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah, please.
You shared that you keep seeing meteors quite often. So how, when, and how means that's a big thing for me to even know that we can see meteors.
Yeah, actually, in December, there is a meteor shower called the Geminids, and on that Geminids meteor shower, we had seen this December, we saw around 150 meteors in one night. And like uh, maybe like 2018, if I recall correctly, we saw more than 5 to 600 in one night, 5 to 600 meteors. So the only one thing I would say is that during the time we saw 150 meteors, there was a person standing right next to me, and we counted 30, but he had not seen even one. We were in the same physical spot, because the other person standing next to me was looking into their phone.
You see it by naked eye or by using telescope?
Naked eye, just naked eye. Just sit down or lie down and look up. But Bangalore, you will not see too many too many meteors. You have to go to bit rural places for that.
That's why in Bombay we can't see.
Oh yeah, Bombay, I would imagine you wouldn't see many. But Bangalore, actually in December first week, I saw a bright meteor at Tin Factory. If you know Tin Factory in Bangalore, it's one of the most light polluted places on earth. There's so much of light everywhere. But even then, I could see a meteor while I was driving. So it's possible to see, but I would not bet on it.
Is meteor that thing that one light ray comes,
Yeah.
like flashing kind of thing, one ray
Yes.
kind of, that is the
Exactly.
meteor?
Exactly.
And it must be falling somewhere on the earth, is it? Or no, it just passes by?
If a meteor falls and hits the earth, it's called a meteorite. Most of them burn up in the atmosphere. Meteor by definition doesn't hit the earth, but some meteors can hit the earth, then we call it a meteorite. But in general,
And what's the difference between meteorite and asteroid?
Asteroid is a lot bigger. You wouldn't want an asteroid to come towards us. That's what ended the dinosaurs. That's what created a huge hole in Ellora, near Ellora caves, called Lonar. You wouldn't want that. Yeah, you wouldn't want that to happen now.
So asteroid and meteor, the difference is only about the size, is it?
Yeah, only the size. Okay, some questions. What is the best telescope? The best telescope, according to me, is the one that you will use. So even if it's a small telescope, it doesn't matter. It is the best one. If you are using it, then it is the best. Otherwise, you can have the best telescope and put it under a cover. Then it is not the best telescope. While learning, do not get stuck with technical terms. How can we spot stars? Yeah, stars are always there. You have to go out and be on the terrace and spot them. Can I share a demo of Stellarium? I will ask Sakila ma'am if that's okay, and then we'll yeah. Okay. And then we'll do it the last 5 minutes. I'll do a quick demo. A violet color is always represented for space, and VIBGYOR is the highest level. Is there any energy with it? Any connection with it? Oh, and in VIBGYOR, it's the highest level of energy. Okay. Yeah, I mean, there is definitely, depending on the wavelengths, right? There is a difference between red and the violet side. But I don't know of any connection between space and VIBGYOR. I think that's what you're asking. Space and energy, I guess. So I don't know of anything like that. Difference between a meteor and a comet? Well, typically comets have water on them. They have stuff on them as well. They got mass, they got rock as well. But typically comets have water, as well as the comets originate from a different part of the solar system. They call it the Oort cloud, and they're pretty far away from even Pluto. How can you spot the correct name of the star with just naked eye? That needs a bit of practice. It's not something that you like. For example, if it is very cloudy and if I only see one star in the sky, even I wouldn't know which star it is. For me to know the name of the star, I need to see the rest of the stars around it, which constellation it is in. Only then I can tell the name of the star. So like I can't name the star just by seeing a picture of the star, for example. I wouldn't know which star is which. Can we visit you anytime to see the telescope? Yeah, sure. We have shared our social media handle, so we keep posting things there. We do lot of like if you go to our history in our Facebook, you can see lot of videos that we have put up, from our telescope. So you can always look at those Sun, Saturn, Jupiter. You'll find everything there in our history if you go to video section of our Facebook page. Otherwise, you can also come and join our event. You can the all the details are shared. See the 3 star in a line. Just Smita says yes. That's one of the most famous things that people first notice in the winters. That is the belt of Orion that you're talking about. What's your expertise? Well, I'm just beginner astronomer, and I feel that my expertise is in teaching people to just shed their inhibitions and get started with astronomy. So people are a little bit intimidated by that subject. So my expertise is in helping you to get started in astronomy. That is really where I could say that I am very good. I'm very good at. About what I know about astronomy and all the other things, as I said before, maybe I know 0.5% or 1% of what there is to know. Special experience that I can recount, and how did I get interested? Yeah, special experience, as I've said, mostly the meteors and the reactions I get from people when they see Saturn and other things like Jupiter's moons and all. And I got interested when I was a child. I used to look up at satellites in the sky. That's how I got interested in astronomy. Uh,
Yeah.
all right, that
Yeah.
was quite a lot of questions. Any more? Let me know.
Yeah, I have a question. So, I always think like when we compare ourselves with the vast universe, we are tiniest of the tiniest. So, have you
Yeah.
ever related that with your life? So, whenever problem comes or whenever we carries the word I within us, and when we compare this I with this universe, then that would be dissolved the moment we think of the word I with this vast universe. So, have you ever related your life with that
Yeah,
vastness?
pretty much. A very good question. Pretty much everything I do is based on that only. Like for me, I know that I can definitely earn more money. I can definitely get a promotion. I can definitely do other things. I know that I can do it. But for me, I need to have a balance, because I feel that, this whole thing that I have experiencing, right now, this was just not my choice, but it was just some kind of dumb luck. I don't want to say anything else, like specifically about any being extra, supernatural being or anything, that I don't understand. But even if I just look at chances, right, like you understand probability, it's a very low probability that I should be alive today, like very low very low, very slim chance that any one of us should be alive today. And I always think about that, as I have said, and all my life decisions are based on that, like that this just seems to be pure luck that I'm here, and I need to make the most out of it. So I try to keep a balance between all the tangible nice things in life versus other intangible things like art and music, and enjoying everything else around us, nature and all that, right? So I try to find a balance. That's pretty much the center point of taking any decisions for me, actually. I hope that answered. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost time.
Yeah.
So anybody wants to share any thought about this to Anish, you can share.
Anish, I think you have broken the record of number of questions that you have got.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Thanks. I'm very happy that it was interactive when I was starting. I know, like, it's a very unusual thing for me to talk about myself. I usually talk about other things, right? So I was a bit worried what I will run out of things to say in 2 minutes because there's not much I can tell about myself. So I'm very happy that you all asked those questions and kept it interactive, and very happy to see that even after the hour is up, there is still a question there which is unanswered. So I'm very happy about that. And this is really fun actually. I was a bit nervous when I started thinking, what is there about to talk for 1 hour, but yeah, happy. Thanks for keeping it so interactive.
Actually, we were also nervous that what we'll ask.
Yeah, so that helped. That worked for both of us. All right. Uh, have I seen a rocket? So before I think that would be the last question in the chat. So I will just answer. I'll tell you some fascinating stuff, right? December 25th, 2021, there was a rocket, which was launched in the French Guyana, which is like South America, okay, in the other part of our world. The rocket was launched in our evening time. It had the James Webb telescope in it. Basically they were launching the telescope in space, and they launched it other part of the earth. And we were having a camp here in Denkanikote, which is pretty close to where you guys are. That's where our campsite is. It's around 20 kilometers from your place. So can you imagine, we saw the rocket over our head after a few minutes after its launch in South America, which is mind blowing because, and I never expected it to see it, but we could clearly see that there was a rocket with a big bow shock, like a shock wave, like it looks like a frog basically on the rocket, and it was going through space like that. And that was one of the things that just I did not expect to see. And when there was a kid who was next to me, she said, "Uncle, what is that?" Typically, when kids say, "Uncle, what is that?" It's either a plane or it's a bird of some sort, or something like that. So I was fully expecting to say, "Look, it's a plane, right?" So I just looked up and I was like, "What is that?" It is something I never expected to see, and it was pretty strange that it was moving that fast. So yeah, I mean, this kind of so I have seen rocket launches in real in Sriharikota. If you've never experienced it, please go and see a rocket launch with your own eyes. And if possible, see it in the night time. Uh, that will be one of the most memorable things for you. But for me, this to answer, the question, have I seen rocket? This was a mind-boggling thing to see something launched by NASA on the other side of Earth. To see it from Denkanikote, it was too good.
Anish, quickly, last 5 minutes, can
So
you share the working of that app?
Yeah, sure. All right, so recommend good films to watch pertaining astronomy. Yeah, there are some recommendations. I think they are very good, and I always recommend Carl Sagan's Cosmos series to everybody. So now I will just share my screen, and then you can let me see 1 second how to do that here. All right. Yeah, I have just opened Stellarium, so I will just show you how to. It's a quick one. It's not a full tutorial on Stellarium, so I hope that's okay. So when you launch the app, this is how it looks. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you can see like one globe, one Earth, right?
Is this the web version or
This is an app. I downloaded it to my desktop.
okay?
All right. So you can see markings here. It says east. Like that, basically it gives you 360 degrees of the sky right now for your location. So what you could do is, okay, today is 31st and I want to see how the sky will look at sunset. So I can then say, okay, I can just go to the left panel. If I go to the panel like this, one panel comes up here. Of course, I'm not going to go over everything, but I'll just go over the time portion. And at the bottom, there is a panel, right? Like two panels come up when you hover your mouse there. Otherwise, it gets hidden. Okay. Now,
1 second. For me only, is it the screen has two straps, or for everybody it is like that?
I can only see the image, yeah.
Yeah, that's what me too.
Me three.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me 3.
Only the.
Me 4.
what can you see?
Like
Now-
There's
grass.
a blue sky, green
Just
grass,
green
and
field
the
and
two
blue
black straps.
Please don't lean on me.
Yeah.
How about now?
No.
No.
No. Same thing. Same thing. No.
Maybe you have to share your entire screen.
Yeah, it is the entire screen. Let me try again. Let me
Select
try
desktop.
sharing. Let me stop and present again.
Select desktop.
Yeah.
So why was not anybody saying it?
Are you able to see anything right now?
No.
No, right? Okay. Let me just share again.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Aparna. Can you open a breakout room for Arpita auntie? She's repeatedly messaged.
Okay. So Aditi, you're the host. So can you make a breakout room?
Doing.
Okay, I'm just clicking on share screen. So hopefully now this shows everything.
Yeah. Yes. This is it is clear.
Okay, so I was saying on the left side, if I go, now are you able to see the panel on the left and the
Yes.
bottom? So
Yes.
if you just hover your mouse, the second option is the date and time. And you can just go and change the date to today evening, say 8 o'clock. All right, so I'll put it closer to 8 o'clock now. And so this will tell you how the sky will look at 8 o'clock today. All right, and it says that in the west I can see Jupiter. What I can do at the bottom, I can enable the constellation lines. Like at the bottom there is one called constellation line. If I click on that, it will draw the design and it will tell you how to connect the sky with those stars and how to make certain designs. Like for example, some of you told me, let me just go search for the 3 dots that somebody told. All right, so this is the 3 dots. Okay, now I'm removing the lines. So someone told about the 3 dots. You can see the 3 dots in the center here.
Well, I
right?
could not see any 3 dots, nor can I see any line. It's still stuck
Yeah.
in daytime.
It's still showing the daytime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess there would be some sort of a lag, and that could be why. So maybe
Yeah, maybe.
Zoom, there is some lag on Zoom side. Is everyone still not seeing the 3 dots?
Nothing.
No,
Only the
No.
sky.
Daytime and date and time.
Okay. All right. Well, I will stop the demo. I think that there is some lag on the internet, so I'll just stop it for now. Maybe some other time, because it doesn't, if you're not able to see it live, because there is a lot of moving things. But I can tell you, once you download Stellarium, go to the left side, second option from top, you click, you get the date and time, and you change the date and time to whatever you want to change it. And then go to the bottom left first option, you click, it will give you, draw the lines on the stars for you. It will tell you how to connect the 3 dots and all that, Saptarishi, how to find out all that. It will just tell you by connecting the dots for you. Right?
So the date and time can be past and future both.
Yeah, 10,000 years plus minus you can go.
Wow. Okay.
So like all the research that people do on Mahabharata timing, Rig Veda, all that, when it happens, all that they do based on these kind of apps only.
Okay, so we invite you to campus because we also have a telescope and we're all interested in astronomy.
And we have a lot more questions to ask also. So that would be
Sure. I'll be more than happy to drop in sometime. Are there any other questions on any other channels, Sakila? I don't know if there are, let me know.
One last, can I ask? When you were
Sure.
talking about the rocket thing, so is it very often that there are rocket launches in NASA or wherever, and then you can see them, or it is like once in a while, like lifetime types?
No, you can see the rocket launches. You just go to Sriharikota, you can see it. All you have to do with ISRO is you have to register beforehand. Whenever they have a rocket launch, they will tell you 2 weeks in advance. on their website, ISRO website. So then there is some visitor section. So if you register, they will let you come inside the premises and see the rocket launch from some, I think, 5 kilometers away. If you don't register and if you go, still you can see the rocket launch from outside their gate. It's not like it's a big rocket, right? So you can even see it from, there is a lake called Pulicat Lake where they go for birding and all. You can go to that lake side and you can see the rocket launch. In fact, you can see it from the highway also. So there is no, but of course, you need to plan because they don't tell you in advance, number one. And number two, rocket launches can be cancelled even the last second. So like we took a whole bus of people once to see the rocket launch, and that day we were all there standing and they canceled the rocket launch. Then, whole bus we came back. So that kind of thing happens. So we prepared for that.
Uh, so does it mean that only during rocket launching visitors are allowed, or even when the work in progress is going on, can we visit
No,
Sriharikota?
you cannot. You cannot visit Sriharikota other than for the rocket launch. And only when you visit, you can only go to the launch gallery. I mean, yeah, the launch gallery, which is pretty far away from the rocket. However, there is a satellite center in Bangalore which you can visit as a school. You can write to them and they will host you. They will show you a lot of things. You can talk to ISRO people from at the satellite center in Old Airport Road.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
Time went by very fast. Thank you
Thank-
all. Thank you.
I never knew it was going to be so fun.
All right.
Yeah,
Even me, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Thank
Space
you,
is
Anish. It was
intense.
awesome.
Thanks. Thank you all.
It was such
Thank
a
you for the
wonderful.
opportunity.
Thanks for making your time for this.
For sharing
And
your
we
journey.
just took 11 more minutes of your time too.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I look forward to meeting you guys in person sometime in your campus. And I look forward to seeing you all in my campsite as well someday. Have a good
Yeah.
rest of the day.
Yeah.
We're
Sure.
very
Yeah.
glad to come up.
Yes, surely one day we will meet for sure in your campus.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're free, connect with Sakila and you can plan to visit us.
Yeah, surely, because we pass by Aarohi every weekend because we go to the campsite, no? So one day I will drop in for sure.
Yes,
Please. You want to come, okay?
Definitely.
Yeah.
We have a lot more questions.
I know. I will definitely come. Even I want to see what you guys are doing, how you are learning. What? Come? I didn't hear.
He's saying if you not come, he will cry.
Oh, okay. No, surely we will come very soon. I want to see what you guys are doing. Yeah. Okay. Bye. All right.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Bye.
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 Manan, just wait, huh? Yeah.
Hey, Ratnesh is the host of this. Ratnesh.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ratnesh Rathore is
You
the
can
host.
call. The meeting, you can think about it, whatever you want to. Like you want to create a project in baking, you want to create a project in writing, you want to create a project in whatever is your interest, you see what kind of project we can do for you.
Hello. Leela.
Yes, Akila.
I think this meeting is still on live. We need to, this is also going on YouTube.
Okay. I'm just asking Aditi to stop.
Yeah. Anish messaged me. So.
Yes, she's stopping, I have told.